everyone. I'd like to introduce my second guest for the evening, Jessica Weinard. As I said earlier, Jessica has agreed to come on and share her very personal story, and we want to thank her for that. Welcome, Jessii.
Thank you for having me.
Great. It's wonderful that you're here. Maybe you can start by sharing a little bit about yourself and your experience with being bullied for the audience.
Okay, well, I unfortunately have been bullied ever since I was a little girl. There hasn't really been a day of elementary school, middle school, or high school where I haven't been made fun of for something. I mean, there were times where things were better and times where things were worse, but overall, I've typically been bullied my entire life, and it definitely has taken a toll on me.
Okay. How would you say you moved through that? That sounds like a very hard
Back when I was younger, I've always had a really close relationship with my family, especially my mom and my brother and my grandparents. So back when I was younger, I found it easier to cope, and my coping method was actually a lot better. I used to sing a lot, and that's what would make me feel better. But as things progressed, and as things and the bullying got worse and more personal and more attacking who I was, the worse I got. And the eating disorder didn't actually come until later on, but one thing leads into another. For me, it started off with actually overeating, and I ate myself into being 200 pounds.
But if I can just step in for a little bit, because people listening and hearing this, and hearing I'm bullied and now I'm eating and I'm 200. If you could just give a little bit of an insight in terms of what was going on with you, because you said, and you're crying right now, so I can see that it was a very painful experience. So what sort of thoughts and feelings were you experiencing, and what were some of the things, the specific things that were happening to you that were so painful?
I felt numbness, and at the time when this whole, especially regarding everything, like self-harm in every which way possible, it pretty much all started in grade 10, and at the time my parents were getting separated, and I was going through a lot of other personal family issues. And
This is the self-harm you're talking about that started in grade 10?
Like the overeating.
And the overeating.
Yeah,
all aspects of that.
Okay. Keep in mind, like, eating disorders are not just for people, like, they're not just people that are sick thin, or eating disorders can be people that overeat, or you don't have to be like 95 pounds to have an eating disorder. I was 200 pounds when I started to have bulimia, and I'm obviously still not super skinny, but that doesn't change the fact that I had an eating disorder, and that's one of the main reasons why I was always so afraid to step forward, because I just felt like I wasn't,
when you say step forward, how do you mean step forward?
Like, try to reach out and get help for myself.
Okay.
Because
I think it's great that you're pointing that out, because that is a misconception that a lot of people have. The stereotype that eating disorders, it fits into one category, which includes the term anorexia, which is thin. However, it can extend out to to obesity as well.
If you don't mind, Jessii, I'd like to get back a bit to, because you mentioned that your self-harming behavior started when your parents were getting divorced, and you spoke about being bullied for a number of years prior to that. So there are a lot of emotional trauma and difficulty that you were experiencing up to that point, and then here is another big one. Now, in terms of the times when you were being bullied and harassed in school, and can you tell us a little bit in terms of how your parents went about helping you, or your family, or your friends? What was being helpful? What wasn't working?
Well, I'm really lucky in the sense that I I do have a really close relationship with my mom. And my dad, on the other hand, things have been rocky with us. Like, we've had an on and off relationship. But as I've gotten older, I think he's come to appreciate that I'm not like everybody else. And with that, and especially with all I've gone through, his sensitivity level has gone up. So him and I are definitely working on having a better relationship. But something that always worked is the fact how supportive my parents always were. And I know that some people aren't so lucky, and I can't even imagine what it's like to go through that. But no matter who you are, I feel like there's always going to be someone out there, whether it's a friend or a family member or a teacher or someone. You just have to reach out and find that person that you can trust. And I was just lucky enough that it was my mom and my grandparents. So.
Very good point. And what you just said there about having just that one person is real key. Because in my experience, in all the years I've worked with people on both sides, it always comes down to that. In the end, it usually takes just that one person to be in your corner, just that one person that you can reach out to and know that they're going to be supportive and help you. It may not make the problem go away, because it all depends. You know, they may not be in a powerful position to stop it, but just knowing that there's somebody can,
it's a big help.
Real vital. Would you be comfortable sharing with the audience at this time, in all your experiences, what was your worst moment, your worst point in this trauma?
Over the past year, it's been pretty bad, and my depression, I got to the point where I was...
Can I just clarify?
Yeah.
When you said it was pretty bad, are you talking about being bullied, that was pretty bad, or how you were coping?
It's both. I have this bad habit of surrounding myself with friends that don't necessarily appreciate me, and because it's easy, well, it's not easy to find people that like you, but when you have people that don't like you, at least for me, I'm motivated and I want to be liked by everyone, and that's not possible for anyone. So, you know, really what helped change things is when I met my current best friend, Sam, and she just, like, opened up my eyes to being around people that actually care about you, as opposed to, you know, being around people who don't appreciate you and bring you down. And, but like, as I was saying, this past year was probably the worst for my depression. I had people that were very, very close to me bring me down to lows I never thought possible. I was abusing drugs and alcohol. I was a cutter. I was bulimic. Even this past March, it was my most serious suicide attempt. And if it wasn't for my friend calling my mom, I would have gone through with it. And I just,
pretty traumatic.
Thanks for sharing.
Common. Suzanne, in terms of what Jessii said, do you see a lot of that in working?
Yes, it's great. It's great that you found people around you that can lift you up. So that's something I wanted to highlight in terms of having people around you that can bring you up. And what you're expressing on here, it's extremely hard, challenging, and it is something that is seen a lot within the community, people who are having challenges with bullying, eating disorders, and there's a whole, enmeshed, everything is enmeshed, it's not separated and categorized.
One thing always leads into another.
You've mentioned something that I wanted to ask Susan's opinion about, because you mentioned about the desire to be liked, and you're always looking for people to like you, and unfortunately sometimes that hasn't been the case. Is this also one of the common themes that you see with clients who tend to end up self abuse?
The need to be wanted, to be liked, to be cared for, it is definitely a human need that I do see in a lot of people that need to be heard, understood, and loved. Absolutely. It's something, it's foundation. I think it's foundation.
But I think another important thing that people need to understand, that at the end of the day, you can have all the people you want that care about you, but you have to care for yourself. And and maybe I'm just trying to smooth up to the boss a little bit here, but I'm actually a co-op student at Rogers TV, and I have wanted to be doing this my entire life. And when I turned 17, I didn't even want to turn 17. I didn't think I would be alive to even see my 18th birthday, and I just turned 18 in September. So, like, pardon?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But literally, if you cut out the negative out of your life and you just go after what you want, it does make you a lot happier. And in this, being here at Rogers has actually helped me get a lot better. Like, obviously my mind still goes across wanting to starve myself and throw up my meals and all that horrible stuff. But I'm just so committed to being where I am, and I'm now surrounded by a wonderful group of people. Like, honestly, everyone that works here is absolutely amazing, and I found like a great new group of friends and just people I have things in common with. So it's never too late to get out of a situation, and you can always, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you have a passion for something, go for it, because even though you may feel alone, there's always someone out there that feels exactly like you do, and eventually you will find those people.
And again, you're identifying some very significant points. Would you agree in terms of the need to find something about yourself that you value and you want to hold on to find something you're passionate about, you know, because you're right, it's great to have support and from family, from friends, but they can't do it for you.
At the end of the day, if you want to get better, it's on you.
Exactly.
And what I think is great too is how you surround yourself with people who have like-minded, similar interests.
It took a long time, but I can honestly say I have never been so happy in my entire life.
Good.
And I, like, to anyone that's watching out there, I know it's hard what you're going through.
We're going to be taking a quick break, and we'll be right back.